let's roll.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Devs Like Us podcast show. How is everyone doing?
Hey.
Doing well, doing well. How about yourself, sir?
Can't complain. I think it's been a good week. It's been a good week. I can't no complaints. My kettlebell arrived today. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to get gym equipment post pandemic, but it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
And the kettlebell is up there as far as minimum equipment, get your full body workout. So, but yeah, I did my first workout with the kettlebell today, and it was pretty good. I'll see how I feel, if I overdid it or not, but no complaints. JB, how you been?
I've been good, I'm back at work and things, so, trying to get back into the groove of that. But other than that, it's been good. It's been a good week, got a couple runs in. Not kettlebelling or anything, but,
Yeah, kettlebells are hard to find. What kind of back door did you go to get that?
He got that off the back of somebody's truck.
Yeah. My coworker was looking for one, and he said that it was like a long wait. So I had suggested just get him a 5-gallon bucket and fill it up with water or sand, and you might be able to get the whole workout in still. Just
I would definitely go with the water.
yeah, that'd be a little bit easier.
It's hot. If something happens, it'll be okay. Sand is all bad.
Well, if you're outside in the yard, it's fine. You can get a couple sandbags.
That's true. Have you I guess doing the kettlebell, have you considered doing more finding, DIY workouts and stuff like that? Or just getting creative?
Yeah, so I have that, and then I have the gym bands, the elastic gym bands for curls and other things. So between that and then just running, so the weather's not bad if I get out early enough. So gotta get this weight down before winter hits. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think that's one of the things.
Winter is your goal time frame.
For sure.
I will say we have been
always in there. That shade in there.
I mean, from last episode to this episode, winter is it.
It is it. It doesn't happen.
Everybody else is talking about summer bodies. You out here. No, I need to be ready for winter time. Hibernation starts then, but I need to be good beforehand so I don't add to what I have.
you got to be lean before you pack it on.
Broccoli cheddar.
Stuffing. Or fixins, the fixins.
Turkey. Naps. 5 o'clock sundowns.
True.
Clarence, how you been? How's your day been?
Hey, it's been pretty good. This week has been really good. I've been consistent with my walks. Every morning that I wake up, I'm like, please don't be raining. Please not raining, because I don't have any rain gear right now. But work's been pretty good. Just trying to stay productive, trying to stay focused. Trying to get in the zone, stay in the zone.
Understood. Did anybody have time to step away and look at the CEOs of Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple up against Congress for the antitrust?
I saw a clip of it, but I haven't had a chance to really watch the clip. And I think it was
turn my head. So we just changed the keyword for Alexa, because we got multiple Alexas in the room. So one of them is Amazon, and she just started talking. That's why I turned my head. I was like, hold on.
They're listening, man.
I hate it when that happens on commercials. They say Alexa in the commercials, and they just start responding.
True. I had to unplug mine for that reason.
Sorry, JB. I saw your face, so I had to let you know what happened.
I was wondering, but I was just gonna let you roll with it.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to watch. I missed it.
Oh, you missed it too? You missed it, Clarence?
Yeah, I had. So funny story. I had it up. It said starting at 1, and I take my lunch at 1. So I was like, perfect. I could watch it on lunch. Well, 1 o'clock.
Well, it's like 6 hours.
Oh, well, in my mind, I was thinking it was an hour.
It's an all-day event.
They be there all day.
Same as your work day is their work day.
True, all that. True. So I guess it's not that funny, but basically I heated my food up. I turned on my daily dose of Jerry Springer, and I totally sat down and forgot all about the...
Wow, Clarence. Jerry Springer?
Yeah,
To
it's
our
my
listeners out there, we all don't listen, watch.
Um, we can definitely just scratch that off as being a death thing. It's not us. It's
Hey,
just you.
Hunting and Jerry Springer.
it's my daily dose of ratchetness, you know. Good, good,
Most
good.
most most modern folks ratchetness is like love and hip hop.
Yeah. Basketball
Yeah,
Real
wives.
housewives.
that stuff
Yeah.
looks fake. Jerry Springer seems real to me.
What? Okay.
I forgot
Jerry
what we were
Springer is
talking
real
about.
to you, but
Yeah,
okay.
love and hip hop seems scripted, but Jerry Springer, I really feel like they find these people, and not to
Oh,
get off topic, but they find these people, and these are some real life stories.
so they're like up to date, like they don't look like they're in '90s clothing.
Oh no, so it's weird because like I didn't know that they had so many seasons, and I can't remember the exact number, but like of course they're going through all of the reruns. So lately everything has kind of been, I want to say, I don't know, 2000s, maybe 2007, 2008 kind of. But
Okay, so they're not quite in lugs, but
yeah, yeah.
okay.
But some of them have to be and again, I don't know specific dates, but like, they got hashtags and they talk about like, some of the stuff that we have now. So it's like it can't be that far, and I never checked the air date, but I don't think it's not the old Jerry Springer. It's the semi format. I mean, current.
You need to watch some Judge Faith. That's a good show. Watch some Judge Faith.
I have heard about that. I haven't seen it. I heard it was good.
JB judging all of us.
I really
I'm just
am.
trying to get him off of Jerry Springer. That's all.
I'm trying to, tone it down because, oh
I
man,
understand.
Clarence.
Don't wear JB's filter out
Whew.
Yeah. I'm
for the end
sorry.
of the show.
I'm an old head. I used to have a daily lineup where it was Price is Right, Let's Make a Deal, Good Morning America. I was.
What's the
I
what's the shopping
promise you,
show
Clarence is not over
with
30.
right?
He, Clarence is he acting like
Oh, Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Oh, I watch Jeopardy. I watch Wheel of
I watched
Fortune.
all those shows when I was with my grandma.
Oh, I
Exactly.
still watch it. I'm
Exactly.
faithful. I'm faithful to it. You know.
Him and his wife all the time. They're like, "Hey
Yes.
guys, what y'all up to? Oh, we're just watching, Jeopardy."
She hates it, but I mean, I guess she finds joy because I find joy in it. But I don't know.
That's about it. She just wants to bond. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the CEOs, it's worth going back and looking at some clips. It's 6 hours, so it is long, but it's always funny and interesting for me to see how well the CEOs prepare for like
Yeah.
getting hassled by Congress, and I think that's a real skill set, and that's what gets people away from you know the zeros and ones to the business and the politics of things. Because even though there's politics in all office spaces, and so which is probably a great segue because Clarence, you sent a topic today that you want us to discuss, and that is what getting the developer job. So like the interview process, the experience of how it is
How
to
stressful it could be. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So and
A
then there's
lot.
probably
Not
different
that
levels of
bad.
stress for being in school, potentially trying to get your first one, or not being in school and trying to get your first one, and
Hmm.
or being in an existing job role and then keeping things quiet while you're trying to make your move to your next one. So there's different levels of stress there. So,
Yes, sir. Gotta
so
be
let's see what you
silent.
got for us, Clarence. So you had so what was the job search like for everybody? So I know some of us have different experiences and different numbers of experience. Clarence, I think you got us beat. Do you guys beat
Um,
as far as like how many different jobs?
that's Mr. Job Jumper there.
Yeah. So
I've
Clarence,
had quite a
yeah,
few.
jump it off, Clarence. How's your job search experience been? Where did you prepare? How'd you prepare? What was your job? What is the summary of your job search tend to be like? What's the flavor?
So I think like and I could go for probably days, but I will
Start with
say
college and then
start with
go to,
college.
yeah.
Okay.
Internship. No, I'm just.
Well, I say yeah. For college, I think it was probably the same as like kind of in the earlier part of my career, where it was just like the job search was pretty hectic. When you're starting off, especially like entry level, or just small amount of experience, I feel like you go to Indeed or you go to was it Monster or even just Google search, and like you type in what you think you were prepared to do, and 1,000 different things come back, and you're just like, whoa, I thought if I typed in, software developer, bam, it would just be a software developer. But then you come to find out that for different companies, they label roles differently. So, I think for me, I found, try to find those keywords that kind of help the job search. So, you can never go wrong with like developer or, what was the one that I remember? If you type in software, you're guaranteed to either get at least software developer or software engineer, along those lines. But uh, to kind of go back to the original part of the question, definitely stressful because it's like everything is right there in front of you, and when you start going through the opportunities at different companies, a lot of them have whether it's like understanding roles and duties and experiences that they want. Some people, I know I've had a lot of people joke that you read some open opportunities and it feels like they should have just put Superman at the top of the job posting. They want you to bring the cape. And they want everything. And so I think from the start looking at from that first start of looking, it's just like super overwhelming.
Yeah, I can agree with that. For me, it was. I think while I was still in school, trying to get like the first internship, like my goal was everyone always said, if you get the internship while you're in school and do well there, you're good. Like, don't not have the internship. Don't leave, don't graduate from school and not have an internship because that's just like not worth it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think I remember in JB, I think we were just like after school, we were just applying into like any and everywhere. So it was just like definitely casting a wide net, um, and applying to I think we were applying to like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 places a day, and did that for like 2 months, 2 months, and then we're like somebody's gonna come back with something. But and so yeah, that was I mean that's the biggest thing I think sometimes people um I feel bad for folks that say no, I have to work at this place, and that one place is the place that they have to work for, and like they have a list of like 1 or 2 places, and those are the 2 places they have to work at, and like that's the only 2 places that they'll be happy at. I'm like, there's so many great places that you can work at, and a lot of times, sometimes the places that we feel as though we want to work at are not don't live to be up to what we think they are. So for me, it was I'm trying to go back. It was stressful. It was stressful, and so it was. You apply to all those places, and if you're blessed enough, you'll get a number of them back to at least start the phone process. So that's another thing you'll have to. You'll most likely you'll be doing something in life, and you'll have to schedule your first round interviews, which normally is like a phone call, either with like an HR person. Tends to be, I think, pretty standard. Depending on the size of the company. But I think for a majority of my interviews, it started out with some form of phone conversation, either with an HR person or with, I don't know, some type of business, I guess, person. It wasn't like the technical. I normally didn't get, unless maybe if it was a small company, I might have gotten a technical person with that first phone call. But for the most part, it was like an HR person, like, tell us about yourself, this, that, and the third. And then if you did well on that, then you would go on to either another like technical phone interview or video chat interview, and then like the next one was like you go in and it's like they keep you there for like hours for doing different things. So, but yeah, so JB, how about you? Was it stressful for you starting out?
But for me, I had a mix of, you know, having the phone interviews and the and well, the technical interviews and the HR people calling as my first round. And it was really stressful because most of my phone calls happened during finals weeks.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
sucks.
remember that. You
So,
were stressed.
like, I remember running from one final to go to a testing center to do a test for an interview, to then coming back to campus to complete another final in the same day.
And it
Which,
was that, and that potential job was not local. They just sent you to like a local test center.
yeah, so just
Nice.
one of those local test centers where they can sign in, watch you take the test and all
They
that
do the
stuff.
certs and stuff there too, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So that made it really stressful. Like I had another one call me to set up a in-person interview while I was like in the library, like in the books studying. And they're like, can you come in like on Thursday? I'm like, I have a final on Thursday and you're not like local. And graduation is this Saturday. And so like we legit had to change it out. And I think I went like the very next week after graduation to go in for my interview, which that interview went like most of my other in-person interviews where it was like a marathon of technical people coming into a room, just like
Those Fortune
uh
500 ones, like those were,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like round after round.
yeah,
They
and
get
so like it starts off with the HR person, they kind of butter you up and all this stuff, and then it's like, okay, we're gonna have like a couple people come through, and then like I had a Java developer come into a room with me, and then right after that it's like the C++ developer, then it's the person who's like in the middle to make sure that the Java and the C++ come together and things like that. So it was really stressful in that sense. And then there's a lot of studying into, um, what types of, looking at what types of interview technical questions you could get, and just trying to prepare for those types of settings and things. So, yeah.
For
Speaking of
sure.
that, have y'all ever had this happen to you where they ask you a question and you go back later and you found out they Googled the whole interview was Googled, like
Yeah.
every question?
Yeah. So like that, like there's only a certain amount of, like, it seems like there's 1,000 different like questions that they can ask you, and there is, but like if you group them into categories
You can pretty
and
much figure it out.
yeah, have like some sort of foundation there, you can at least discuss it and then explain to them where you're kind of like falling short, because you're gonna you know if you're guessing or not, and that's like,
Yeah.
don't guess, just tell them
Right.
like, yeah, don't know,
That
or
is
you'll
my number
figure it
one
out.
thing. Like, never be that person in the room that's just like just trying to BS your way through it. Like, yeah, I remember that. That's that. You don't want to be that person.
For sure.
Uh, and so there have been plenty of times where I'm in the room and like I'm on a roll and I'm like, yeah, I'm in the zone and all these things. And then they ask me a question. I'm just like, wait a minute. I remember hearing about this, but I can't remember the specifics. And they actually appreciate the fact that you take the time to let them know, because saying that you know everything about everything, you know, there are some people who are like the super duper, I want to make sure I know everything about everything, but there's also a finite limit on, well, a infinite limit on finite, infinite, whatever, on how much you can retain in a given time frame.
For sure.
Because especially when you're a student, because of the fact that, like I said, I was during finals week, so I'm thinking about all the different things that I have to do while also trying to remember, what we're talking about here, while also trying to remember, what I learned in class X like 2 years ago. So yeah, it's just a lot going on at that time. So just making sure that you're honest, because why not?
Yeah, the in school stress is definitely real, because you feel like that was like your next leap to like, okay, I'm doing school,
This is the
but you're
start of
not
life.
finished with school, so it's like, I don't want to like mess up school trying to make that next jump.
True.
But you're
True.
still, while you're still in it, so that's definitely a stress point. So how about get applying for the dev position, or the technical position when you're already in a position? So we did you're in school, and you definitely still have grades. If you're working part-time or full-time, you still have that as well. So how have you guys been able to navigate jumping to another job or position when you already have that first job?
We're gonna let Clarence go first.
I'll just say,
I've only done positions.
I don't want
Switched
to
positions. I haven't switched actual employers.
I would say, don't say you're going to the dentist but so often, especially if you're not eating a lot of candy at your desk. But you're going to run out of doctor's
So you
excuses
definitely
sooner
keep it
than
under
later.
wraps.
Yeah, you try your best to keep it under wraps. I know it's pretty hard, and it also depends on like the industry that you work in too, because some companies, it's well expected, but others, who have, a greater workforce of people who, held longer like tenures, they're not kind of used to it. So you pretty much get creative, but like, it's almost like, you're keeping deep dark secrets, like, you don't want anybody to know, but your best bud that you drink coffee with every morning, you're like itching to tell them, kind of like, that, you got this, new opportunity on the horizon, or, I mean, it's really, I don't know how to explain it as a feeling, but it's awkward because like, you feel like you're letting people down because, you want to share that excitement, especially if you do really well in your interviews, or, like y'all had mentioned earlier, you get that job at that company that you always wanted, like, of course, in the inside, you're bursting with joy that, you want to tell everybody that, hey, my biggest, wildest dream, might potentially be coming true. And also too, when you go through interviews, uh, I've done well on some interviews. I've completely bombed interviews. So, when I come out of one that I did really well on, of course I want to boast and talk about it. But, when you're trying to make that transition to somewhere else, you got to be careful because there's cases where people, they are, I'll say they're better than themselves, and or just looking for something brand new, and a company hears word of that, and they'll terminate you on the spot, not even give you your 2 week due diligence to knowledge share with people around you. Um, but yeah, it's you learn to get very creative with it, I should say. And it all depends on, like I said, the environment that you're in. Because I've seen some of my experiences that I told people that I was leaving. Most people looked at me like, "You're doing what? Why would you do that?" Like this place is this place is awesome. And I've also heard a funny story. I've also heard somebody tell me that the grass isn't as green as you think it is. And I replied, well, I'll take that chance. Whether it's green grass or turf, I'll figure out on my own. So, you know,
That's a new one.
oh, yeah, you'll hear a lot from people who, and I mean, this is not to bash anybody who decides to stay in a position that they're
Right.
in, but I think in the day and age that we're at now, and this might be a further topic for some other episode, is that you know, as a software developer, like you should always, even if you don't take the positions, I feel like you get a lot of insight of staying current by doing interviews because you kind of get a chance to see what other development teams are doing. You might even find a project that you're even more passionate about, and because there are cases that you're on a project that's never ending, and nobody sees a problem with that. But you wake up one day, you just say, I've been working on this for 2 or 3 years, and there's no end in sight. I mean, eventually you want to see a finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some positions where you're in a technology that it might be some type of legacy system, and you're one of the few people that know how um, to develop and maintain that system, and it's good for the company, but it might not necessarily be the best for you. There oftentimes though there are, I guess, payment incentives if it's a skill that they need.
Yeah.
But for you wanting to stay current with other technologies, you might have to do other things like side projects on your own or something to stay current with other technologies. But I do I do think you brought some good points as far as um, how you move, kind of like how you keep things, I guess, under wrap as far while you're like in that process. I do think that's definitely uh, good advice. You don't want to, because I don't know, like you said, when you told people that you were leaving, there's like all types of emotions, like why would you do that, this and that and the third, um, and then of course the great companies, like they'll be happy for you too as well, and they know that that they can, although it might be hard to replace you, that they are able to move on, and you can still keep connections. Just it's a small world where still end up being able to work with folks, especially if you stay in the same area. But so how do you guys feel as though it's the best way to get your foot into like the developer job? I see like there's the application, the code application route where you just you fill out the online application without knowing anyone. Then there's the knowing someone on the inside, or connection, or and then there's, to me, there's like another way of getting a job where it's like if it's a company that has an open source project, committing to that project or
Yeah.
contributing to that project, or immersing yourself in a particular technology community. I think one of the ways to lower stress for me within like getting a job and is like already having a relationship, and for me, the best positions that I have not necessarily been like posted already. They've been like, oh, we're going to tailor this for your skill set. We met you
Mhm.
at such conference, and we know you do X, Y, and Z. We would love to have you launch this new thing or do this thing at our organization. But yeah, have you guys had the experience where you feel as though there's ways of lowering that stress of getting a job or being within that process?
I will say for me, it's kind of been pretty similar to what you just said, as far as knowing people and people just being like, "Oh yeah, Jasmine, she's working in such and such area. You should call her up." Or um, having the experience of working with people and then they remember me for later on. And they just call me up and it's like, "Hey, my office is, looking for someone who does this, and I thought you were a great fit because I remember when we worked together, it went, such and such type of way." And just to kind of go back a bit,
You ever
for
burn any bridges, JB? You don't
no,
burn bridges?
no, I'm
You be
I'm
running
out
back
here.
into folks, right?
I'm always out here like, planting flowers on the bridges that I've already passed by. Um, like it's plenty of times I can go back to, places that I've been just to see people, and it's like we can, sit down and have a chat about how things are going, how things are going for me, how things are going for them. And just things like that. Like there are plenty of people that I have in my phone that are just people that I've previously worked with that we still keep in contact, still sending little Christmas cards and all that stuff. Just because you never know who will be where, and if you can help someone or vice versa, them helping you. And so you always want to keep that kind of in your back pocket. Now that doesn't mean that if something's going wrong that you don't, hightail it out there. It just means that, you also need to keep in mind of the possibilities for the future. Um, so yeah. Um, but I will say that, like, my very first job was in a development program. And so, because I wasn't sure exactly, like Clarence said earlier, which portion of computer science I wanted to be in. Because it's like, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. And so, I wanted to get a chance to experience all those things. And as I was in that, I had the ability to choose where I wanted to go, like which offices I wanted to sit in for that. And I had I had a lot of chances to be like, oh, I know this is going to challenge me. Let me try that one out. Or I know this is really going to challenge me. Let me try that one out. So every time I went to a new place, it just kept getting better, because of the fact that number one, I'm a foodie, so I was always like hey, are these people going to feed me? Because I like to eat. Number
The
two,
per
how
diem, the
is
travel
the?
per diem when you going for your interview.
Oh
Even
yeah.
if you bomb
Oh,
it, you just get you some cookies.
be like, how much do I have available to me today? But also, you want to look at the
That
offices
was
that
us
you
as
go
college
to.
students. That was so college students. We just wanted food.
That's
I don't
that's
know if
it.
it has the same effect now.
As an adult, I doubt it has the same
Yeah,
effect. It's like, oh, I could have got that same steak, but it's cool.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, like I want to know, what type of offices I'm going into because you want to make sure that the morale is really high within the office and that it's easy to, leverage skill sets between you and your colleagues while you're in those offices and things. So yeah.
Yeah, and one of the piggyback off of what you stated, JB, I think as far as like being able to get a feel for like how an environment, how the office environment is, one of the best questions I've ever been told to ask in an interview is, why did the person before me leave?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
That's
you
a
get
good
a
question.
lot of good information from answering that question. If you don't get anything from this episode for your interview bag, when they ask you, do you have any questions? Ask them why the person before you in that position left. And so that would tell you a lot too about to get some hints with as far as like the culture in the office, and just ask them to talk to someone like if you feel like you
Yes.
like they want you and like you passed the interview and stuff. Ask, don't just accept, like ask to also talk to somebody in the office that's not in the interview like chain as far as like HR, the interview
Mhm.
person. Hey, can I have a sit down with one of the developers? And then they're not going to hold anything back. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't been they haven't been trained to all say all the like perfect things, and
But
then
since you said something about, interviews and them asking you if you have any questions, one thing that I was taught was always have a question
oh yeah,
to
you have
ask because um, it was funny to me that a lady who actually interviewed me once before, the only way she remembers me is because of the fact that I asked her a question. She's like, I've never had someone ask me a question before. When we ask that, generally we just do it as a formality. And people are like, no, no, you've answered everything. And like
take my little notebook.
that's
Number
basically
one.
how it went. Like she's like, do you have any questions for me? I just flipped over my resume and I'm like, so glad you asked. And I just like went through all the things. And she's like, I've never been asked, a question. And so when you have someone who's interviewed like hundreds of people and they remember you through the years whenever you see them, that really makes a difference. It means that you really left a imprint on them. And so yeah.
Mhm.
So true.
Yes. Somebody told me that as much as they interview you, you should interview them as well.
Yes.
And that's super big because I know it's helped me in a lot of interviews.
I'm
I went
sorry,
through.
y'all. I'm just thinking about Step Brothers.
Why are you wearing the tux?
I'm just thinking about Step Brothers. They took over them interviews. Continue, Clarence. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's okay. I was just gonna say,
And it just
it's
made
super
it
important.
hilarious. Hold on, wait. It made it hilarious because Terrence really tried to hold it in. And so it was like a slow grin that came up on his.
Oh man, that's my show.
But continue, Clarence.
Will
No,
Ferrell.
I was gonna say that's super important because so many people go in the interview with no questions about the company, no questions about the
Mhm.
the day to day. I mean, pretty much don't have any intention to find out what they're getting themselves into, and I think that speaks volumes to them because that also helps them kind of scope out what kind of person you are as far as when how will you fit on their team. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, it could hurt you if everybody's pretty introverted, but at the same time, at least that might also help you because they're looking for that spark, that somebody who's gonna, is willing to not only just do what they're asked, but also, willing to see how can you make changes or, just, getting a better understanding.
And just as like the technical workforce gets a rep of being introverted, and they are.
Not everybody.
Most are, but there are a lot of like social people as well. And one of the another great avenue, which it's kind of tricky. You don't want to be weird about it, but you can learn a lot through like a lot of these technical organizations, like through their social media, and people are in their social media, depending on how large the company is. But yeah, if you see like there's a job opening for a company, look at their Twitter page, look at their Instagram page, look at the people who they follow, and like
The
just
people
get
they're
a feel.
tagging.
Yeah, because there's some people that work in that companies, and you look at their Twitter page, like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible person, and
Yeah.
and they don't hide anything, and they just, I mean, they work there, but it might not be the vibe that you're looking for in the office, but you can like there's so much with the internet that you can find as to see if like is this a if there's information on the internet about it like being a horrible place to work, then it might really be a horrible place, because there are like places that might seem okay, and then it's like there's still bad stuff. But I feel like there's ways you should leverage social media, not just like randomly reaching out to these people, but to gather information.
But also on the flip side, we still have to go with the age-old don't believe everything you hear
For sure.
online. So it's you just have to find that balance. Now, if you randomly find 6 employees back to back and they're all saying, "Oh, I hate my job," and they're like their social media posts, then okay, that's probably, too big of a trend to be like, maybe they're still good. But if, you got that one bad apple, but then you're looking and everyone else is just like, this place is great, like, or they're showing like them and their coworkers going out and things like that, because um, working for a company is not just, being in the office. These are people that you spend most of your day with. Um, and that's most of your day for anywhere from, for most people, Monday through Friday. And so if you're doing that Monday through Friday, sometimes, you want to hang out with some of these people later on. And so you want to make sure that, it's still good, because you don't want to be that person, like, especially if you have a spouse or kids at home, that you're coming home in a sour mood every day because of the coworkers that you have. So, yeah.
Yeah, that energy can transfer for sure.
Yes.
It does transfer. It does transfer. For sure. Let's see, what else did we have? Did you guys have any unique like interviewing styles, or when you did get in the door, I guess the coding challenge? Anyone have any like take home coding interviews, any panel interviews? Clarence, you're shaking your head. You've been to the most. You've been to the most. The most places. I think me and JB were like two and done, or
Right. Yeah, basically, we just hop positions. You're hopping full blown companies. So
I will
full
say
blown
it
company.
helped. It helped though, because like it kind of showed me. It just gave me a new view of what else is out there.
Clarence,
Once
how is it transferring your benefits and stuff? Is that annoying at all?
all the
nah,
time.
no, not really. I mean, you do come to find that. Well, I'd say it this way. With me, I feel like with me being young, and benefits is up there, but I'm pretty healthy. I'm not sick or
Me
anything
being
like that.
young, watching the prices right here.
Right.
I, I would say like not having any serious medical issues, or like not any huge. I don't have children, so I don't have any responsibilities that that kind of weighs in on. But I mean, you come to find that most of the benefits are similar, if not the same. I mean, there's every once in a while you might come across where you had better coverage at one place that you don't have at the other, but I mean, you work through it.
Gotcha.
But
Sorry, that was so
oh
funny. You've been
no,
talking about the interview styles.
no,
That's
it's
my last
cool.
one for the day. I'm not switching subject on anybody else.
No, it's cool. I mean, I've seen them all though. I've had coding challenges that I had to take home, and do. I've had coding challenges during the interview, where you know, it's interesting because sometimes they want you to code in whatever language, that of course that you're going to be working in, but sometimes they don't care if it's pseudo or something that you're familiar with. If, they're okay with you making that transition from what you were doing to, what they have. But the panel interviews, that one, I think that's probably been the most challenging to me, because you could get one panel that you do really awesome with, and then like the senior tech leads come in and like they start asking questions and you like totally bomb it. I had that happen to me where I met with I guess they were more like the business side, the customer facing uh, group, and they were in love with me. They loved everything about me, like
They're just nice people.
yeah,
They
yeah,
have to be.
they were nice, you know.
It's their job. They're the customer side.
I mean, from a customer side, I sold it. I could have sold that vacuum if I was if I had it in the room with me. But when it came down to the actual technical team, it wasn't that I did horrible, but like the tone changed, and the question, of course, the questions change. And I think you all mentioned it earlier. But like sometimes you go into these interviews and they expect you to remember so much stuff, and it's like, wait a minute, like it's not that I don't know about it. It's just that it's not at the top of my head that, oh, I could just spit it out, right then and there.
But what I do love, the code, like that form of interview is all good and well, but I perform the best when I'm able to show them something I've already done, like other projects or things I've already done, or when they ask an open-ended question and we still have about 45 minutes left in the interview, and I'm like, oh, you're just going to give me the floor? And I'm talking about
it's like, well, let me start here.
Right. Those are my favorites.
And so I just go in on, because they're going to ask you questions that are not like just like not a particular problem to solve, and like that is your time to shine. You should have solutions that you have developed, or projects that you have developed. You should have like a list of 4 or 5 and be ready to like explain those in detail. And it should be a problem, and it should be a solution, and how you came to that solution, how you got to that point. Those, if you're able to like articulate how you get through those to people, sometimes that can blow folks away, to where that and your whatever education you have along with that, or other experiences or work experience you have, that go an extremely long way. Because there are a lot of people that can solve the brain teasers. There's books. We can go online now and we can work on problems
50,
for like
100.
a month or so.
Yeah.
And build off of our foundation, and kind of like get in that interview mode, and you can get those problems, like you can solve those problems, but that doesn't mean you're going to work well with a team of other people, because at the end of the day, you have to have people skills. You have to be able to work with others, and like it's the interview question. A lot of times that's what a lot of people fear, but it's not the entire interview from my experience. So
I guess one thing to add to that too, you brought up a good point, is that one thing I've seen, in a lot of cases is it's never the first question, but it has seemed to be a consistent last question is, what's your GitHub link? Like what kind of projects have you worked on, and what do you do in your off time to help you with your coding skill? And that one's pretty important, because I think that is usually probably the make or break, if they see what kind of coding style you have, because that's another thing. Most people, especially big
when no
dev
one's
teams,
looking.
no, yeah. Most dev teams, they're trying to figure out, if we bring this person on, how do they fit with our coding style? Like, are we gonna have to go back? Have to continue to keep going back over this person's code? Is this gonna make our our peer reviews even longer? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's also nice to have like an additional skill, like being able to automate things, having like some type of DevOps model to go with like your development skills that can separate you from the pack as well. I think we mentioned it on the previous episode, but I think I was a developer, like a pure developer, for a very, very short period of time. And then you just add on more things, and then you realize like, oh, I'm not even really developing. I'm just making sure these things run well within the cloud, and like trying to save cost, trying to make things more efficient, trying to automate things, making sure people don't have to focus on like the repeatable things, and that we're automating those things so folks can focus on like the harder issues and problems. So in all honesty, like I have not really just been like a pure like developer on my projects for like a long time. And
I've
so
actually had a mix of, there was a time where it was just all automation, where it's like, hey, here's this thing that we have. We've been doing it for years. Help. And then, and it's funny when I say it like that, but there have been people who say it. And then there's other times where it's like, hey, we have this really big problem. We just need a solution. We don't care how you develop it, just make it and help us, make things easier on us. So yeah, I've had that mix of automation versus ground up development, as far as you're creating a whole new tool. And so that has been interesting. But yeah, to the point of, not just being a regular developer of this is your piece that I want you to do,
right.
or being that ticket person where it's like, this is your ticket, and, we want you to get all as many tickets as you can out, during the course of your week. So yeah, I've had a mix of those for myself. So yeah.
I think that's one thing I'm interested to get into. That's one thing you made a good point of you know, you're it seems like a lot of the dev jobs, you're either most of the dev jobs is automation, so it's taking, trying to make whatever they have going on better. But I laugh with some peers before, like, when you see cool stuff on TV, you're like, ooh, how do you get that dev job? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
where's that wreck?
Yeah. Yeah. Most of my positions, like it's either been like it's been more of like a software engineer where I'm overseeing like developers and like where the product is going, and if like technical solutions like at a higher level, but not hands on keyboard. Or it's
Mhm.
been more of like what people call DevOps. I still like to call like a site reliability engineer, where we're just making sure things are distributed and running in the cloud, and like those things are reliable for customers. And in all honesty, it is fun. Doing those things are fun. Uh, Configuring like making sure like we have like the infrastructure as code, and using Ansible and other like site reliability tools, like those things that I really never did in school, but it kind of like it still builds um, off of foundational stuff in school. So Clarence, how are you been feeling after your interviews?
How have I felt
Was
after?
that a horrible
So
transition, JB? Let's
yeah,
just
It
get out
was
I
in the
felt
open.
like
it was a
I felt
very
like
like, in your face type of transition.
yeah, I had a I
Sometimes
had
you
a
just
whole
gotta hit
nother
them like that.
segue, but you just like really off railed it. I don't even know where I was gonna go next.
I
But you had
just
said
wanted.
something.
It didn't matter. I guess you just wanted to know how you felt after the interview.
Okay, I'll go there then.
How do you
Um,
any best anything you like to do after your interview to like keep
Eat.
your nerves down? Eat?
Um,
Yes, eat. Go
True.
get a good.
Okay. But don't
Go
do that for you.
reward yourself.
eat, sleep. I mean, back in college, like, I know it was, since we had the bowling alley on campus, it was like, all right, let's go bowling now. I need something to help me, relieve the stress that I had for this particular interview. And some other interviews, I was like really cool with it. Like, just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I knocked this one out of the park. Like,
Yeah.
I know they're gonna call me. Like, yeah.
Out of all my interviews, I bombed one. And I haven't been doing a whole. I didn't have to do a bunch of interviews, but and I didn't bomb it. It was just one of those things where it was like, I don't think I did that problem right. And
True.
it wasn't an in-person problem. It was just, we just had a whole packet and we just had to go through and do some stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think I had like a layover from the flight to get in there. It's just, I wasn't in the zone. It just didn't work out. And so it wasn't bad. I just
I
didn't
had
get a call
that
back.
situation with the one I told you about that I had to go to the testing center. That one, that was a really tough one. Not even the fact of having the finals before and after. It was um, just the hassle of getting there and being there. And then
Right.
you're also in a room by yourself, which just feels weird. Because you know someone's watching you on camera, and
They hit you with the Men in Black
it's basically how it was. Like
in an all white room.
like when I took that one, I basically came in, signed into the testing center, and they're like, "All right, this is your computer. Camera's right there," and it's like, oh, it's like right here in my face type thing.
Yeah.
Just because they want to see your thought process and how you maneuver through things. But with that one, it was just a lot on the mind, and they gave me like a dry erase piece of paper with like those little blue calculators that you had back in like elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really interesting. But yeah, after that one, I was like, I just need time to myself. Like,
Exactly.
I don't even want to talk to anybody after this. I'm gonna go take my final, and that's it for the day.
Yeah. And for me, I was definitely tired from being in school for sure. Tired from being in school. I was traveling during the school week. Then I had to like catch a train, and anybody knows me, I hate public transportation. And like had to catch the train and do all that stuff, and then it was like, all right, interview time. I'm like, I just got in. Like it was just not. I was not in the zone. I didn't stay in the zone for that interview, for sure. But yeah, for me after interviews, I guess I don't know. It depends on what's going on in life. So for sure, if you have a lot going on, it can definitely be stressful. But I think I like to just make sure I have a whole bunch of other interviews I can go to next. Someone's gonna like you. So
that's one thing. Don't let that one slow you down. I
That
think
one or that six, it's fine.
yeah, I think you get better. You get better with
For
them.
sure.
Yeah.
I think I had a period of time where I had them a couple a week, and by like that third one, it was just it was flowing like water. Like I
did
didn't even have
about
to think about
5
it.
interviews.
Right. Like 1 month it was like 15.
I didn't even go in person. I just did them all online. It just Skype. I said, "Nah, you got Skype."
Had him booked back to back.
Zoom.
He just hanging back in the chair, just like, so what do you have to offer me during this interview?
I
Clarence
mean,
in the interview, looking at his watch, and I have another interview.
can we speed this
up?
up? I got somewhere to be. Time is valuable. Time is money.
Exactly.
Now I think though, like you get better with with them though. I will say, when you do them often, and that's why I even make it a suggestion that even if you're not looking, if you get an opportunity, you find something that you're interested in, apply for it and just go through the interview process, because that kind of gives you that refresh of what's really out there. Or even the biggest thing, I wouldn't even downplay it, but getting the opportunity to see what because sometimes you go through your day to day and you're learning a lot, but like unless you're really challenged about what you do, or the kind of profession that you're in, a lot of times unless you read it back to somebody, you don't even realize like, dang, I know I've taken on a lot, and I know I've learned a lot, but I didn't know I knew that much.
That's why Clarence keep going on all these interviews. We need to, I'm gonna point you to some of these websites, Clarence. You can do your own online interview and see how much you know. Stop going to all these interviews.
It's gonna get you a couple Coursera courses, and you just take those.
Happy now, he's not going anywhere now. He's happy now.
No, I'm parked right now.
You
but
sure?
He's parked.
For recording purposes, I'm parked. No.
Let me write that down on my edits list.
Hey, no, I mean, I will say, don't be ashamed to look around. I think I was once told by an old wise man that don't don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Was that you talking to you?
It might
I
have been.
promise
No,
y'all, Clarence is not about to retire.
No, no.
This old wise man once told me.
Hey, when I get
Always
somewhere,
greener on the green.
when I get places, I always befriend the older. I shouldn't even say old because people feel some type of way about that. But
Ageism.
I tend to try to leverage the seasoned. Yes. Yes, that's one thing that I think is very beneficial and that's kind of how you all talked about it earlier as far as like seeing how you fit with some place. When you really sit with somebody who's been at a place, and they've kind of seen the seasons change, the different cycles that a company has gone through, you really soak in so much information. And sometimes, people who have been there for a while, they don't want to tell you because, of course they want you to feel the same way they feel. But there's ways to manipulate that where, you start asking around questions and, just getting that feel because they'll eventually tell you.
Okay, master manipulation.
Yeah, he just said asking around questions.
Right. It's like never go to them with exactly
So,
what you know.
how long has the food in the cafeteria been bad around here? You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
But
But that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that's been a pretty good summary topic for like how we feel as far as getting into development. Did anybody want to add any other topic or any other points for it?
I would add. Sorry. Go ahead, Jazz.
No, you good.
Oh,
I didn't have
I was
about to say I didn't think she was talking.
nothing at all.
Unless her mic went out on my end.
It might have. I was gonna add something that I mentioned. Something that I meant to mention earlier, as it was stated. As far as like feeling comfortable, with interviews, that networking piece is big. If you can go to an interview and you already know somebody that's there, that already relieves some. I'm not gonna say you still shouldn't stress about it, but like that alone will help you build your confidence when you go in that room versus you go in somewhere and you don't know anybody. I remember one interview I went on, a guy that went to Norfolk State was there and he remembered me and I remember him and I was just like, I didn't know you worked here. He was like, I didn't know you were interviewing for here. And so like that'll
But that brings up another point, though, Clarence. When you're talking about like the social networking, and then you said confidence.
Yes.
You just got your interview. You did well. Salary. How confident are you when negotiating salary?
I've gotten better with time because and this might
you were
be
selling yourself cheap.
No. I realized. So you another good topic that you mentioned earlier that I didn't get a chance to speak on is that as developers, we're not just developers. We're also walking businesses.
Yes.
We ourselves are businesses, and your value, your value. You set that value, and don't let anybody let you set it cheap. So
Yes.
that's another thing. A part of that job search is not only applying for that job, but also looking to see what the local salaries are and, what kind of job responsibilities they have and the skill set. Because if you bring in something extra, that could be worth more.
Yeah, I actually had a job that I actually got the offer from them. I didn't take it, but so we got into the question of salary, and the HR lady is like, "Well, this is our number," and I'm like, that's it. That's all that you have for a number. And she's like, so what's your number? And of course my number was higher than her number, like by quite a bit, just because I really felt that they were lowballing because of the fact that the area that they were in was really expensive, and for that particular salary, like, you're really having to huddle in the house with a couple people.
Want you driving 60 miles to work?
Right. You're just driving from state to state basically to get to work, because it was ridiculous. And they tried to incentivize me with, like, we'll give you stock in the company, and all these different things, which um depending on what company that is, that can look really well. But you also need to do your homework in that end.
Sure.
Just to see what those numbers actually look like, what their margins look like from year to year and things like that, because you want to make sure that this is an investment in yourself. And so you want to make sure that you're making the right investment. And so, like I said, I didn't take that job because I decided to go back to school, because I was like, I could,
Who needs money?
basically, I can be poor for another 2 years. It's fine.
Once you
And
face it,
so,
once you get it, you're not going back.
exactly. And I'm glad I actually did decide to go back to school, because after coming out with my master's, my numbers were looking a lot better than what this particular company was trying to offer me. And so, yeah.
That's another thing too. It's not all about the salary. You got to look at the overall package.
Yes.
One of my mentors taught
Hold on,
me.
now. Say that again, Clarence. Say that again.
You
Preach.
don't just worry about the salary, but you also have to consider the overall package.
I
So,
gotta get my sounds up here, man, so I can inspire these
People in the
sounds.
back.
one of my mentors taught me that, and I think that was a valuable lesson in itself, because you get hung up on that salary, but you could have a high salary, but like y'all mentioned about
Hate your
benefits
job.
earlier, you hate your job, the benefits suck, like there's no initiatives, to kind of keep you. So, look at that full, when you speak with HR, ask for the full package, everything, all whatever they can, include, because that part you can negotiate some things too,
Yeah.
whether it be vacation days or some stuff, they're not going to budge on, but
Oh no, go in there and say, hey, I'm a full package. I'm a business. I'm a walking business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all a business corporation, I'm a walking business.
I feel like you get a chance to see that part of everything when you interact with contractors. Contractors will teach
Yes.
you that you are a business. There is no such thing as somebody just using you for what you have, but you're actually offering something, and that alone has a value.
For sure.
And even when you do get those offers, read the documentation that they give you. Don't be so excited that you got the job that you're just like, all right, I'm signing my name on the dotted line and send this back.
Right.
Actually read the information, because um, I'm not saying that people are always just dishonest, but there are certain things that are sometimes omitted during those conversations that you have that will show up in that paperwork, and they may be things that you
Your
just don't
salary
agree.
can change. That's one of the things
That
you need to
too.
look at too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
As far
because
as like
I
not
actually had
going
that
in the right
happen where
direction.
it's like this, like, during the interview process, the salary was one thing, and then once the paperwork gets to me, it's like this look a little different than what we talked about.
That
And
salary was with contingent like bonuses and stuff, and that
yeah,
wasn't the actual
and
salary.
it wasn't explicitly stated. And so yeah, reading that paperwork and making sure that you know and understand what's going on and what you're getting yourself into really makes a difference.
For sure. All right, you all. I think that was a
Good.
good episode.
That was a great episode.
But
Good episode. You
I
all did
liked it.
amazing.
Yeah. Learned so much about Clarence's interviewing process.
Yeah.
Out of all 20,000 interviews that he's ever done in his life.
I'm one of them old people just been staying at the same place.
Right. I'm out here like I just like it so much. It's great.
New positions count. New positions
Right.
count.
Yeah. I guess not as much as new companies, but new positions.
I tell you one thing that had me catch on. LinkedIn. If you are an avid LinkedIn user, you'll start to see, you be like, hey, such and such we went to school with, they are a senior this, a manager this. It's like you go look at their profile and it's like every 3 months.
Clarence has made everything a competition. Got it.
No. I would even say it's a competition. I think you start to wonder. There's a little bit of wonder there. It's like
Look at him wondering now.
It's like, what's my next stop? The next 2 to 3 years, I'm hopping again.
I won't comment.
But you all, it's been great. You all, thank you for listening to another episode of the Devs Like Us show. Any other closing remarks? Anybody? I want to say bye to everybody.
No,
Any call to action?
No.
Any call to actions? No, I don't have anything. I mean, I could still talk forever, but
Yeah, but
They're gonna cut us off. We didn't pay for that. All right, y'all. But I'm Terrence.
I'm JB.
and I'm Clarence.
All right, we're out.